right, I want to go over the last weekend. We had a pretty big pullback. So I kind of want to run over it and see what we see. So right now we're on the weekly of Bitcoin, and you can see last couple of weeks pretty bullish, and this last week this candle closed at 8 p.m. Sunday. You would have saw this. I mean, it was already falling at this point. Bitcoin was already in the like 16, so it was falling that whole day. Closed at around 15,450. So it would close pretty bearish. You know, big wick. So you would have thought we're gonna get some reverse, but this all happened in basically the same night. So Bitcoin is retraced pretty healthy. Retracement is liquidated like 500 million in shorts and long positions. If you kind of trace out that order block, didn't hit completely perfect, but pretty damn perfect to 50% of that order block. Came back, collected the liquidity on the week. So you would notice, like, when this went up, all this liquidity on the weekly was still here. So this last few hours has collected all that liquidity. Move to the 4 hour. You wouldn't have known this was necessarily going to come until it happens. We could have like jumping back to the to the weekly, like we've had times before. Boom, boom, boom. Like we didn't even come back and collect this liquidity here. This is this 104 to 98. Like we've never even collected any of this. That's the same. That 98 overlaps with a lot. Like that 98,000. You know, I mean, even this liquidity here never collected it. You know, once we went over 100,000, like right here. Once we went over this 100K mark, like we've never really reset. But this is a lot of institutional money has been entered, but there's a lot of liquidity down here. I've read somewhere that there's so much liquidity between this zone right here, like 98 to this 80, 85. There's so much liquidity here that even if Bitcoin goes to 500,000, there's more liquidity here than what would be on the top at 500K. Whether that's completely true or not, it's something I read. But yes, there's a lot of liquidity that's untapped. So that's why people are saying that there's going to be a pullback in Bitcoin. But the institutional adoption is what's kind of, I feel like, keeping us farther from that for a longer amount of time. But there's a lot of liquidity down there. So on the weekly, this could have just kept pushing up, but this close at 8 o'clock at night last night would have shown you that we might get a reversal. And there's a 50% retracement within hours. This wasn't even a day. This is hours. And it actually caught a lot of people by surprise. But it technically speaking, it reset pretty good. Okay, so let's drop down to daily. So this day here was Wednesday the 10th. This is a couple weeks ago. But this would have been an order block on the daily. Reset right to it. So if you're looking to a place where it would go, this could have kept going. Could have came down to this order block here and could have retraced. This is last night. This is today. I mean, this all happened today. So this could have pushed up, literally have opened. We could have been in this order block and we could have continued bullish, but it decided to blast through it and then filled at the next order block. So that's why sometimes you never know what order block, because this could have easily tapped down into as low as right here and continued healthy and then retraced to this later. But it decided to puke last night and puked right to the liquidity level. So we didn't drop farther than we should have. It's a pretty healthy drop. We could have even dropped a little bit more, but that was your next logical drop. was right there, right at that 11,007. Like it got low, 11.6. Like they got low. Whereas we're only sitting at 12.9 right now. Like it's low. You move it to the now you think like when Bitcoin moves like this, altcoins are going parabolic. They're getting scared. Get scared. I got caught in a Sol. I got caught pretty good. I got caught pretty good. Terribly. It's unfortunate. 4 hours. You know, you would have looked at structure. Sol last night. Look at that. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, until once it broke that 115 underneath this last kind of candle. I mean, you had little support here, another order block there, and it just kept going all the way into this big order block. This is the same one that's on the daily. We just highlighted that. Same thing, same 50% fill. Collected. So you had all this up movement, we had all this sideways, and now it closed all that liquidity. See, you never know when this is going to happen, but you do have an idea where it would be off of our strategy here. You can know where if it happens, you know where it's going to go. You know where it's going to go. You just never know when it's going to necessarily puke. Because look, it could have been any of these days. It could have been this day. It could have been this day. And they just decided to pull the rug. When people are going long, when they get a lot of long orders, they pull the plug. You know, so you don't have to panic. It's not going to go to zero because you have an idea where it's going to stop. Well, you had a couple ideas. This could have been an idea. This could have been an idea. But you know, once it starts busting through them, you can just move. Like your next, this was a big one. So there's a lot of liquidity here. There's a bigger order block here compared to just this. You know, you have all this as an order block. This is once it blasted through this one, you kind of know that it's going to go to the next one, and that's your next one. But you never like to know which one it's going to stop at. But if you just looked at the graph in your own eyes, right? It's that you can tell because they're trying to collect as much liquidity as they could, and if they're spilling this, it's going to collect as much as possible, and that's that right there, that 50%. Close the gap. Now we're going up. Now we're going to go up. We just collected all this liquidity. Once the fear gets out, like smart money right now is buying. Well, they already tagged all their orders. While they were dumping, they were tagging all their buy orders. So now they were causing the sell, panic sells, and they're tagging their buy orders. Smart money is tagging buy orders. So now we're going to, all this, we're going above it. So we're going to be pushing, probably going to push these highs over the next few days. We're going to collect this liquidity now. We just shut all this down. Now we're going to collect all these wicks. So I'd say this week we could see 118 at least. We're going to collect this to upside liquidity. Depending on how fast, you know, you may see this in a day or two. But I say we push the liquidity over 118 now. Drop down to the 1 hour. There's nothing much really more to see from the 1 hour. But we saw a nice healthy thing, and yeah, we're just going to start seeing some buys now. People are still panic selling, but smart money is buying. So let's just go from Sol from the top up. This was my, man, so frustrating. So frustrating. Now, I placed an order right here. Okay, the market when I pull down the one. Let's go to drop down because I already know what the order that we look like. So this is just frustrating. I knew this was going to happen. So I saw them open up. I saw them pull back. I was looking at previous day highs, intraday highs. So I knew we were going to collect this liquidity. I really knew it. So I set an order, like right here, at 41. It went up to I think 41.50 is where I set my order. 41.50. So right around here. Collect these highs. I'm pretty sure we were gonna collect this up here. So I was cutting it like in half, and it was a logical number. So it was 41.50, like right here. Really, really damn, cutting it close. But I mean, it came all the way up to 69. Okay, so I had an order set to sell. I picked it up like right at this, right on this sweep. When it swept liquidity, I caught this on the bottom, and I was gonna play it until the sweep of these highs, and that's like logical number 41.50. On my chart here, it hits, and I was trading on HTX. It did not hit. It missed by 30 cents. So that's the difference between graphs. You gotta, even though this is an HTX graph, right here is an HTX frame. It's not showing identical. It showed just a few pennies off, and I was doing my analytics here, my graphing here, and I missed it, and it was a bad miss because since then market pulled back, missed it. I was thinking we might run the highs again. Now this is the middle of the night, get a sell off. Woke up in the morning, like in here. I was, collected this liquidity on the bottom. Okay, we got a sweep of liquidity, and we closed a whole bunch of liquidity. So for me, it was like, all right, we might get another push. We might push London's highs. Came up, but this is the problem. On the weekends, you don't have as much. See, these are not real London areas, and run because the weekend's closed, so you don't get as much volume. But you swept the low, swept liquidity. I was thinking that New York would open and push these highs, if not even clear Asia's highs. Okay, you would think that. That's kind of what you would see here. Didn't happen because on the weekend you don't have the volume. Then we just kept crashing for the day. New York opened. We collected even more liquidity, and then this where it just bang, bang, bang. There was no, it just, so this came all the way down to 213. Liquidated me last night. Oh man. Yeah. No bueno. What do I see now in Sol? I mean, like we didn't collect this liquidity, which I don't like. I would have, this is the 4 hour. I would have liked to see this fair value gap completely fill up. It's been wicked into already twice, but it's still a pretty big fair value gap. So it really filled. So I mean, it completely filled that gap. I would have liked it to fill this completely. And we still have this sleeper down here. I don't think we're gonna pick it up, but if we do, like, that's a number that's sleeping. Yeah, if we get anything, if we get like a panic or something, we'll see a 205, another $200 Solana. That's a mark I've had. This has been a mark I've had now too, and it's been fully filled. So Solana's up from here, from technicals. Came back and even tested this as support. So Solana's probably a good time to see. This is a lesson learned because if I didn't trade the weekend, I would be looking to trade today. I would have came to the computer right now, done this analysis, would have saw this filled this order block, price would be here, wouldn't be buying right away, but I would drop down to the 1 hour, see what we've seen. Always go left. See where price is now. All this liquidity has kind of been collected. See how this is like kind of, we went up, came back down, went up, came back down. So this was a healthy climb. Well, not so healthy because it did leave, I mean, it even looks healthy. It looks healthy on the 1 hour. On the 1 hour, it looks healthy. On the 1 hour, it looks healthy. On the 4 hour, you can see we're gapped. It's not even totally gapped. I mean, like, the untrained eye would say this, like, collected this liquidity, collected this because you got that push, but it kind of came down, collected as it went up. But you would still mark it from an order block perspective. From a liquidity perspective, it gives the attention that it actually picked some of it up. but it came back and visited the same area. Crazy. Crazy, that dump. Perfect to the level though. Just crazy. Technicals work. Technicals work. Technicals work. Tested as support, pushing up. Now we're gonna run. We collected all this liquidity. We're gonna push liquidity on the top. So can we keep going down? Sure, but I don't think so. Everything's indicating ETH took a dump. 4,000. That was a buy. That was a freaking buy. ETH came down super low. Yeah, ETH has been hanging up there for a while. ETH on the daily. Like ETH has a lot of untapped liquidity too. Look at all this. ETH. Like it. We should visit this. Not should, but that's a possible zone. I mean, that's a possible zone for Ethereum. I'm gonna leave that up there. I mean, it's crazy how much is left behind. Like, I think next bear market for ETH, like, it's done 4,000 before, but this is a lot of liquidity on the downside of Ethereum. This is your next big level. We haven't revisited it in a long time. I mean, really since August of 25. Yeah, it's been up there for a while. Couple weeks. Yeah, we've just been sitting in this area. I mean, a lot of liquidity even on the weekly here. Look at this liquidity on the weekly. As low as 25. That would be, yeah, one day. Interesting. Because I have a couple long positions on Ethereum. Gotta keep an eye on those. Alright. So, Sol picked up that liquidity perfectly. Dropped down to the 30-minute. Price is pushing up. Next zone, next liquidity zone is right here. So we'll push up to this upside. We'll pick some of this liquidity up around 228. We'll probably leave some gaps behind. Kind of maybe come back down. We're just slowly climb up this chart. Probably gonna end up pushing. We're gonna pick up all this liquidity though. Definitely pushing over those highs that I thought. And we probably will see this because there's liquidity here. There's liquidity in this zone above, and that's why I was honestly on that strong close above. This is on the 30-minute. So when we had a 30-minute close above liquidity, that indicated to me like this was strong. This was a super strong push. That's why I was actually targeting 240, 255, I guess 240, 55. I was expecting to see price when on this order to push up. Like I was taking my profit here, but I was expecting it to, because it was such a Bitcoin at that time was pushing so crazy. Everything had a crazy push. Looked like it was going to be a push to run this liquidity up here before pulling back, trapping people in the longs before dropping down. Now it trapped a lot of people in longs. Don't get me wrong, and it just didn't push as far as anticipated. I was also playing intraday highs, so I was playing it safe. Technically speaking, I was correct. And then I got held holding it. And then they decided to pull the plug on Monday. Crazy. So, that's where we're at. We're seeing A lot of buy pressure here on these wicks. This is all buy pressure. People are buying now. I mean, yeah, 220. It's on sale. Things are on sale. All right, guys. Till the next one.